I am Heidi Benjaminson, your host of Confidence Coaching, a podcast for mothers of teenagers who want to like how they show up. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello. Welcome to episode 128, Feeling Guilted into Doing Things. I'm glad you're here. Happy April, wherever you are. I have pansies in my window boxes and they make me so happy. I love all of the energy and the symbolism of spring and rebirth. It's such a good reminder to all of us that we can try again. We're like seeds, and sometimes we need to go underground and rest before blooming again. Okay, today's topic comes from recent client experiences and the need for us to all have specific tools to handle situations where someone else is trying to guilt us into doing something. Next week's episode will be how and why to stop using guilt on others, on our children. For today, we'll talk about how to react when we can tell someone isn't being clear on what they're asking and they're wanting us to feel guilty and then do something for them. Let's start with an example and then we'll dissect it. This example is a combination of recent client experiences. My client, Sarah, her mother wanted her to visit over the Christmas holiday. So she called Sarah mid-November and she said things like, "Well, I wish you were coming this Christmas. It isn't the same without you. I get so sad without you." And so forth. If you really loved me, you'd fly your family here. Who knows if this will be your Aunt Linda's last Christmas? So, how would you respond? Sarah didn't want to go. She had very good reasons not to go. She had already told her mother why she couldn't go, and she didn't go. Her mother wanted to use guilt as the emotion to get Sarah to do what the mother wanted. The problem is, if Sarah had gone at that time, with all things considered in her situation, she would have done it all with resentment and obligation and feeling the victim to her mother. And all of those are emotions that are not fun house guests. Now, let's look at guilt. Guilt is a powerful emotion. It can be used as manipulation. Now, all guilt isn't bad. When we've made mistakes or we need to learn from our choices, we will feel guilt. This is totally different. That's useful guilt. That's not the guilt of manipulation. The guilt we need to guard from and know how to handle is when someone is trying to guilt trip us. It's called a guilt trip because we leave our anchored emotional state and we swirl around with thoughts like, "I don't want my mom to be sad at Christmas. I don't want her to be mad at me. Maybe I am a bad daughter. Oh no, what if it is Aunt Linda's last Christmas? I made these other commitments. Well, what if I just break them? Will my mom talk poorly about me to my family that does see her at Christmas?" Often the guilt trips come after we have said no and we put down a boundary of our time and resources. Here's the thing. We aren't guilted by people we aren't close to. This type of energy and manipulation is done in close relationships. You'll hear, "Why aren't you seeing your mom on Mother's Day? It could be her last one." Or, "You haven't come to visit in 3 years. I guess we aren't as important to you as your other family." There are several reasons why guilt trips do work. First, we default to wanting others to be happy. And other humans know that we desire this, so someone might use this to get their way. They work, second, because it's easier to blame someone else or request that they change than to communicate directly what we need. If Sarah's mother said, "I think I'll be a little lonelier this holiday season since all the kids are going to their in-laws. I'd love it if you could come, but I understand if you aren't able to. If you can't come, I'll ask a few neighbors to come over, or I'll ask my church if someone needs to adopt me for the day, but I will miss you." This is direct communication. And Sarah's mother is expressing her need. This is so vulnerable. This is Sarah's mother opening her heart and knowing there is a chance her daughter can't come for the holidays, Sarah's mother takes responsibility for her emotional state and also reflects love that her daughter can make responsible choices in her own life. She isn't telling Sarah indirectly that she needs Sarah to take care of her feelings. So guilt works because often we'd rather blame others than open ourselves up to potentially being hurt. In a weird way, being the victim of others feels better because we don't do the heavy lifting of being responsible for our own needs and for our own experience in life. So the end result is that if we do things because we gave in to the guilt trip, the other person may think they feel better because of our surface actions and emotions, but in reality, they aren't getting what they want. Sarah's mother wants her to want to be with her on Christmas. If Sarah had canceled her other commitments, she would have gone with resentment and frustration, which always leads to disconnecting from the other person. We cannot have a guilt trip without resentment and disconnection as luggage on that trip. Think of people who have used guilt with you in the past. Do you seek out spending time with them? I don't. They don't honor my boundaries and emotions. Imagine going to a dinner party and the hostess says, "We did so much work for you. Can't you just offer to do the dishes?" It feels super icky inside. It feels manipulative. Maybe you do the dishes, but you don't have a desire to really connect with this person again. So knowing what results from doing these things from guilt trips really helps us handle these situations. Here are several ways to handle a conversation when you feel someone is trying to use guilt to get you to do something. First, acknowledge that understanding the other person really wants you to do that thing. Sarah could say, "Mom, I totally understand you want us to come for Christmas. I know that I'm going to want my children to visit when they are married and have their own families." If someone's using guilt to get you to contribute to maybe buy your brother-in-law a car, state, "I understand you would really like us to loan you the money to buy Jack a car." Let the other person feel seen. Second, ground yourself and state in very simple terms, not trying to convince, but just clearly stating in direct communication why you can or can't give in to their guilt-inducing request. Use the whole truth, which goes back to number 1. And please be careful with your tone of voice. "Mom, I'd really like to see you on Christmas. I told you our situation this year is such that we need to stay home. I hope you'll respect our decision. We do love being with you, and we hope to FaceTime or talk to you that day." It might be important to add, "Trying to use guilt, Mom, it's not going to change my decision." Another response, "Mom, we have decided we can't loan or give the money for Jack to buy a new car now. We really wish we could just give him the money, but it isn't possible now. I hope you'll respect our decision." Again, say, "Trying to use guilt isn't going to change our decision." It could be this person is so used to using guilt, they don't realize it, and they don't really want you to do something from guilt. Remember, they most likely want you to want to do it. Let the person know if you do things from guilt, you will start to feel resentment, and that isn't how you want to feel toward them. "Mom, if we do come on Christmas, I will feel resentment towards you, and I'll talk to you less, and I don't want either of those things to be part of our relationship." Guaranteed, they don't want this either. Be open about it. This is mature emotional communication. Third, give the person room to express their feelings. "Mom, I don't want you to be lonely or sad. Tell me what you're not looking forward to this holiday." Or say, "You seem upset. What is going on?" Or, "I can see this means a lot to you and I wish I could help. Tell me what this means to you." We all want someone to witness our life experiences, our emotions. Often when others can talk through what's going on, they come around to other solutions that put them in a more powerful position. If we can hold space for the discomfort that others may feel as they experience their needs, if we can let it be okay that they have needs, they will come out on the other side, more capable and heroic. Now, fourth, offer to do what you can do and what feels good to you. So this won't come from guilt. This will feel different inside your body. This will come from love and giving and caring. Sarah told her mother, "Mom, we can't come in person on Christmas, but please tell me the best time for us to open presents over Zoom on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. We can do it when it works best for you. We really want to watch each other open presents." She had the family's favorite dessert sent to her mother the day prior, and they had fun discussing memories of the dessert together. In the example of someone guilting someone else into giving money, you can say, "I can't loan you that much, but I'd be happy to give you $200 or whatever amount to help with insurance." Or, "I'd be happy to drive you to different dealerships and do research on the cars you're deciding between." Often the people who use guilt on us are people that in one way or another we do want to help. So get clear with yourself on the type of help that feels good to you and is within your boundaries and offer this. They may or may not accept. Some people want us in a situation where we owe them. This is a subset of using guilt. It stems from a deep insecurity of the originating person. Once I started to see that, I set up clearer boundaries, and I'm really clear when I have to say no, which gets easier because I want to be all in on saying yes. Say to your friend who's trying to guilt you into coming to her dinner party because she never says no to you, "I'm so sorry, I have that work commitment that I told you about that night. I wish I could come. Can I make a dish and drop it off the night before?" You will feel so much better knowing you've offered from a considerate place and you stood your ground and didn't drop your boundary. They may be mad that you aren't giving in to what they originally wanted. That's okay. They can be mad. They want something and they aren't getting it. We can understand this. But we don't need to twist ourselves in a pretzel when it isn't the right thing for us to do. Even though the other person doesn't want to feel the negative emotion that they're feeling, actually us being okay that they can feel this way is a way of us projecting confidence that they are able to feel lonely or sad or frustrated or nervous or whatever, and we know that they can handle it. The clearer we are in routinely communicating our needs in everyday situations and not using guilt ourselves, the more comfortable other people will be clearly and directly expressing their needs and requests to us. Let me give you an example of how someone just did this very well with me, a clear example of what we can do instead of guilting others. This weekend, I got an email from the early morning seminary teacher who wakes up every day very early, who prepares daily classes for my children to attend every morning at 6:30 at our church. She emailed a few parents and she vulnerably asked for help. She desperately needed some time in her week to get some very important things done, and she asked, could parents take turns this week teaching the very early classes in the week? This is what she didn't do. She didn't say, "I get up every day and I do so much for your children. I spend 3 hours a day preparing for classes while you sleep in. Can you please do me this little favor?" She had zero guilt tripping in her email. She vulnerably owned her request and her own needs, and she expressed how much she really likes teaching. Quickly, adults stepped up to teach for her this week. We stepped up with zero guilt as the fuel. We stepped up with gratitude and a desire to help and serve her. Resentment isn't anywhere to be found. More people around us will be this direct when we practice being direct with our needs. Get comfortable saying, "I'm tired and I need this. I'm overwhelmed and I need this. I'm sad and I need this. This is important to me and I need this. This is a hard no for me, but I'm happy to do this." Others will then mirror back this type of communication if we take the initiative to be direct. Next week, I'll tackle this from the other angle of how to make sure we don't use guilt as a tool to get our children to do what we want them to do. Because we definitely don't want resentment and disconnection any part of our relationship with them. That's it for this week. If you would like personalized, weekly, private, one-on-one coaching to learn how to confidently stand your ground, Sign up for a consult call at HeidiBenjaminson.com. A confident mother is the greatest gift to her family, not a perfect mother. Our families want us to feel confident, anchored, and calm. I can help you uncover this version of yourself. Have a great week.